Welcome to FoxLearn. Today we will learn how to insert, update, delete, view and search data from Microsoft Access. First, we will design a simple UI allows you to insert, update, delete, view and search data from Microsoft Access database. This download will install a set of components that facilitate the transfer of data between existing Microsoft Office files such as Microsoft Office Access 2010 files and Microsoft Office Excel 2010 files to other data sources such as Microsoft SQL Server. Connectivity to existing text files is also supported. ODBC and OLED drivers are installed for application developers to use in developing their applications with connectivity to Office file formats. You need to add an employee table to Microsoft Access database. The Microsoft Access, also known as Microsoft Office Access, is a database management system from Microsoft that combines the relational Microsoft Jet database engine with a graphical user interface and software development tools. It is a member of the Microsoft Office suite of applications, included in the Professional and Higher editions or sold separately. Microsoft Access stores data in its own format based on the AccessJet database engine. It can also import or link directly to data stored in other applications and databases. You need to add a data source to your project. The dataset, which is an in-memory cache of data retrieved from a data source, is a major component of the ADO.NET architecture. The dataset consists of a collection of data table objects that you can relate to each other with data relation objects. You can also enforce data integrity in the dataset by using the unique constraint and foreign key constraint objects. You need to add a binding source to your form. The binding source component serves two purposes. First, it provides a layer of indirection when binding the controls on a form to data. This is accomplished by binding the binding source component to your data source, and then binding the controls on your form to the binding source component. Second, the binding source component can act as a strongly typed data source. Adding a type to the binding source component with the add method creates a list of that type. You can set tab order to all controls. The tab order is the order in which the tab key moves the input focus from one control to the next within a dialog box. Usually the tab order proceeds from left to right and from top to bottom in a dialog box. Each control has a tab stop property that determines whether a control receives input focus. Now we will use LinQ to query data. Language Integrated Queries and Innovation introduced in Visual Studio 2008 and .NET Framework version 3.5 that bridges the gap between the world of objects and the world of data. Traditionally, queries against data are expressed as simple strings without type checking at compile time or IntelliSense support. Furthermore, you have to learn a different query language for each type of data source: SQL databases, XML documents, various web services, and so on. LinQ makes a query a first-class language construct in C# and Visual Basic. You write queries against strongly typed collections of objects by using language keywords and familiar operators. LinQ introduces standard, easily learned patterns for querying and updating data, and the technology can be extended to support potentially any kind of data store. Visual Studio includes LinQ provider assemblies that enable the use of LinQ with .NET Framework collections, SQL Server databases, ADO.NET datasets, and XML documents. Thank you for watching this video.